The sound of shattering glass cut through the apartment like a scream. 48 hours, Nate said, his voice unnervingly calm as he towered over me. That's how long you have to get your things and get out. I stared at the broken picture frame between us, our smiling faces now separated by a jagged crack. 5 years reduced to a deadline. Who is she? I whispered, though I already knew. I'd seen the texts, the late nights, the way his eyes no longer found mine. Emma, don't make this harder than it needs to be. His voice held no remorse, just impatience, as if I were nothing but an inconvenience now. Vanessa's moving in on Sunday. I felt my world collapsing inward, a black hole forming where my heart should be. Sunday? That's our anniversary. For just a moment, I caught something in his eyes, a flicker of recognition, maybe even guilt, before it hardened into indifference. I didn't choose the date. Her lease is up. He checked his watch, the one I'd given him last Christmas. The clock's ticking, Em. I need this to be clean. Clean, like I was a stain he needed to remove. As he turned to walk away, I noticed his phone light up with a message. A heart emoji followed by the words, "Can't wait to finally make your place ours." She gone yet? I looked up and caught his eyes, and in that moment, something inside me shifted. The devastation crystallizing into something colder, harder. Clean, I repeated, my voice steadier than I expected. You have no idea what's coming. Hours earlier. You're working late again? I asked, phone pressed between my ear and shoulder as I stirred the pasta that would now go uneaten. Sorry, babe. The Richardson account is a mess. Nate's voice echoed slightly, as if he were in a large, empty space rather than his office. Don't wait up. I glanced at the calendar on our refrigerator, the date circled in red. 5 years together on Sunday, the reservation at Terrazzo already made, the place where we'd had our first date. Did you remember we have dinner plans this weekend? I asked, though I already knew the answer from his hesitation. Of course, he lied. Looking forward to it. After we hung up, I stared at our apartment, the space we'd carefully built together. The vintage record player he'd insisted on despite its impracticality. The gallery wall of our travels. The expensive couch we'd argued over but now loved. Home. At least it had been. My phone buzzed with a message from my best friend, Zoe. Still on for coffee tomorrow? I need to talk to you about something. I replied quickly. Absolutely. Usual place at 11? The next morning, Zoe was already at our corner table when I arrived at Blackbird Coffee. She looked up from her phone, her expression tight with concern. What's wrong? I asked, sliding into the seat across from her. Zoe's fingers tensed around her mug. I've been debating whether to tell you this, but... She paused, her eyes meeting mine. I saw Nate yesterday. At Lola's, with a woman? My stomach dropped, but I forced a laugh. Probably a work colleague. They have client meetings there all the time. Zoe reached for my hand. They were kissing, and it wasn't the first time I've seen them together. The world seemed to slow down, sounds becoming muffled as if I were underwater. Who is she? I managed to ask. Her name is Vanessa Reed. She works in the marketing department at his firm. Started about 8 months ago. 8 months. While I'd been planning our future, picking out paint samples for the spare bedroom we talked about turning into a nursery someday, he'd been building a different life entirely. Are you sure? I asked, desperately wanting her to take it back. Zoe pulled out her phone, hesitated, then turned it toward me. I'm so sorry, Em. The photo showed Nate at a restaurant I didn't recognize, leaning across a table, his hand covering a woman's. She was striking, long dark hair, confident smile. Younger than me. Different from me. There's something else, Zoe said quietly. Ben from accounting told me they've been talking about moving in together. Soon. The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. When I returned home, the apartment felt different, as if it had already started rejecting me. I moved through the rooms with new awareness, seeing evidence I'd been blind to, a perfume scent on his jacket that wasn't mine, receipts from restaurants we'd never been to together, his sudden password changes on his phone, I stood in our bedroom, looking at the life we'd built, and made a decision. If it was ending, I needed to know everything. Needed to see the full extent of the betrayal. His laptop sat on his desk, closed but not locked. He'd always been careless about that at home. A quick search through his emails revealed nothing unusual, but his cloud storage told a different story. A folder named V contained hundreds of photos, Vanessa in places I recognized, in our favorite weekend spots, wearing his sweatshirt, in hotel rooms with rumpled sheets. And there were plans, apartment listings he'd saved, furniture they'd picked out together. A life fully imagined without me in it. And then I found the messages. Nate. I've been trying to find the right time to tell Emma. It's complicated. Vanessa. You've been saying that for months. I'm tired of being the secret. My lease is up on Sunday and I'm not renewing. Either I'm moving in with you, or we're done. Nate. I'll handle it. By Sunday, the apartment will be ours. I promise. Vanessa. I love you, but I won't be the other woman anymore. Make it happen. I closed the laptop, my hands perfectly steady despite the earthquake happening inside me. I'd given him 5 years of my life. Had put my own career ambitions on hold when he'd gotten his big promotion 2 years ago and needed support through the transition. Had been planning our engagement, even casually browsing rings, and all that time he'd been planning my replacement. I picked up my phone and texted Zoe. You were right. Need your help with something. That evening when Nate came home, I was waiting with dinner prepared, his favorite, as if nothing had changed. I watched him hang up his coat, kiss my cheek, and lie to my face about his day. How was your meeting with Richardson? I asked, pouring him a glass of wine. Brutal. These clients are going to be the death of me. He loosened his tie. What did you do today? I smiled, the kind that didn't reach my eyes. Just getting things in order. That's my girl, always organized. He raised his glass in a small toast. Not his girl. Not anymore. Maybe I never really was. Sunday's going to be special, I said, watching his face carefully. I've been thinking about it all day. A flash of panic crossed his features before he masked it with a smile. Can't wait. In bed that night, I lay awake beside him, studying the profile of the stranger I'd built a life with. The gentle rise and fall of his chest. The faint smile on his lips as he dreamed. Of her, probably. In the morning, I'd begin preparing for the confrontation I now knew was coming. But tonight, I allowed myself to grieve for what I was losing, for what I'd thought we had. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, I would be different. When Nate left for work the next morning, I called in sick to my job at the architectural firm. There was too much to do, too much to prepare. Zoe arrived by 9. Determination etched on her face, carrying a box of legal documents. My cousin at Johnson & Whitfield said these will protect you, she said, spreading papers across our dining table. Power of attorney forms, bank account changes, lease agreement information. As a paralegal at one of the city's top law firms, Zoe had access to resources I desperately needed now. He can't just throw you out, Emma. Legally, you have rights. Your name is on the lease. I shook my head. His parents co-signed. They own the building. Jesus, Zoe muttered. Of course they did. We spent the morning documenting everything in the apartment, taking photos of items I'd purchased, gathering receipts and bank statements showing my contributions to our shared life. What about your career drawings? Zoe asked, pointing to the portfolio in the corner, designs I'd created over the years. Architectural concepts I'd been developing for the competition that could launch my own firm someday. I'll take them, I said, already mentally cataloging what I could and couldn't live without. At noon, my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Emma Larson? We need to talk. It's about Nate. Vanessa. My hands trembled as I showed Zoe. Don't respond, she advised. It's probably a trap. She wants to know if you figured it out. But curiosity won. I replied, what about him? The response came quickly. There are things you should know. Can we meet? Zoe shook her head vigorously. Absolutely not. I need to see her, I insisted. Need to understand what I'm up against. After a heated debate, we agreed on a public meeting place. The park across from my office, in clear view of security cameras. With Zoe watching from a distance, Vanessa was already waiting when I arrived, sitting on a bench with sunglasses hiding her eyes. In person, she was even more striking than in photos. Confident posture, expensive clothes, everything about her screaming success. Emma, she said, standing as I approached. Thank you for meeting me. I remained standing. What do you want? She removed her sunglasses, and I was surprised to see her eyes were red-rimmed, as if she'd been crying. I thought you knew about us, she said. He told me you had an arrangement. That you were staying together for financial reasons but seeing other people. The laugh that escaped me held no humor. That's what he told you? For 8 months. She nodded, her composure cracking slightly. Until last week when I saw your anniversary date on his calendar. When I confronted him, he finally admitted everything. I felt dizzy. So you didn't know? No. She shook her head, looking genuinely distressed. I would never have. I've been cheated on before. I wouldn't do that to someone else. But you're still with him, I pointed out. Still moving in on Sunday. She had the decency to look ashamed. He says he's telling you tonight. Ending things properly, she hesitated. I came because I thought you deserved to know the truth about who he is. What he's capable of. Why should I believe you? She reached into her bag and pulled out her phone, opening a recording app. Because I don't trust him either anymore. She pressed play. Nate's voice filled the space between us. Emma's been holding me back for years. Once she's gone, we can start fresh. No baggage. Vanessa's voice responded. You're sure she doesn't suspect anything? Please, Nate scoffed. Emma sees what she wants to see. Trust me, by Sunday, it'll all be taken care of. She stopped the recording and our eyes met. 2 women deceived by the same man. There's more, Vanessa said quietly. About the competition you're entering. The Patterson Architectural Innovation Award. My blood ran cold. What about it? He's been sending your designs to his friend at Meridian Partners. They're planning to submit a modified version before your deadline. The world tilted beneath me. The Patterson Award was my dream. The recognition that could launch my independent career, free from the firm that had repeatedly passed me over for promotion. Why are you telling me this? I asked, studying her face for signs of deception. Because I made a mistake getting involved with him. But I'm not cruel. She stood, gathering her things. And because he's been playing both of us. As she walked away, she turned back. Whatever you're planning after he tells you tonight, and I can see in your eyes you're planning something, make it count. For both of us, I returned to find Zoe pacing anxiously. Well, was she telling the truth? Yes, I said, a strange calm settling over me. And we need to change our strategy completely. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of activity. Calls to my bank, to my office, to the Patterson Award Committee. Transferring files, securing accounts, changing passwords. By the time Nate's key turned in the lock that evening, everything was in place. I stood in the living room, a glass of wine in hand, watching as he entered with determination in his stride. I already knew what was coming. But now, I also knew exactly what to do about it. 48 hours, Nate repeated, standing over the broken picture frame. That's all I can give you. I studied him, this stranger wearing the face of the man I'd loved. How confident he seemed, how certain of his power in this situation. He had no idea what had been set in motion. Do you remember what you said to me when we moved in here? I asked, my voice calm despite the storm inside me. You said, this is our fresh start. Just you and me against the world. He shifted uncomfortably. Emma, you know what I've been wondering all day? Whether you were already seeing her then, whether you said the same words to her. That's not fair. His jaw tightened. What we had was real. Things change. People change. No, Nate, some people don't change. They just reveal who they've always been. I moved toward the dining table where I'd laid out printouts of the files I'd found, like when they steal their girlfriend's architectural designs to give to their corporate friends. The color drained from his face. What are you talking about? I slid the papers toward him, screenshots of emails between him and the head of design at Meridian Partners, with attachments of my work. Interesting timing, isn't it? Right before the Patterson Award deadline. I smiled without warmth. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Or did you just think I wouldn't fight back? He ran a hand through his hair, his confidence faltering. It's not what it looks like. It never is with you. I circled the table, maintaining distance between us. Tell me, does Vanessa know you're using her too? That once you get that promotion at Meridian, the one that depends on innovative new designs, you'll trade up again? Confusion flashed across his face. How do you... We met today. I watched the realization hit him. Turns out she's not as willing to be manipulated as you thought. You had no right. I had every right. My voice finally broke with emotion. 5 years, Nate. 5 years of my life, my career, my dreams, all sacrificed for your ambitions. And this is how you repay me? By stealing my work and kicking me out on our anniversary? He advanced toward me, but I stood my ground. You're making this into something it's not. I was going to tell you about Vanessa. I just needed the right time. The right time? I laughed bitterly. Like after you submitted my designs as your own? Or after Vanessa moved in? Or maybe after you used my concepts to secure your promotion? It wasn't like that, he insisted, but his eyes darted to the side, the tell he had whenever he lied. I was helping you, getting your work in front of the right people, without my knowledge or consent, while planning to discard me. I shook my head. That's not help, Nate, that's theft. His face hardened. You can see it however you want. The fact remains, you have 48 hours. My name is on the lease. My parents own the building. Yes, your parents. I smiled now, a genuine one that seemed to unnerve him. I had a lovely chat with your mother this afternoon. The panic that flashed across his face was deeply satisfying. You didn't. Oh, but I did. Imagine her surprise when I mentioned Sunday's plans. She had no idea you were planning to move your new girlfriend in, especially since she'd just finished addressing our anniversary party invitations. Nate paled. What exactly did you tell her? The truth, Nate. Something you should try sometime. I moved to the kitchen counter and picked up my phone. I also spoke with Howard Meridian himself. Sent him proof that the designs you've been passing off were actually mine. You're bluffing, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Check your work email. I'm sure it's been an interesting afternoon for you. He grabbed his phone, frantically scrolling through messages. I watched as the realization of what I'd done washed over him. You've ruined everything, he whispered. No, Nate. You did that all on your own. I picked up a folder from the counter and handed it to him. These are the terms of our separation. He opened it, eyes widening as he scanned the document. This is insane. I'm not agreeing to this. Then I'll see you in court. I'm sure the Patterson Committee will be interested in the evidence of intellectual property theft, as will the partners at your firm. I crossed my arms. Your choice. The rage that had been building behind his eyes finally erupted. You think you've won? That you can threaten me? You're nothing without me, Emma. Nothing. That's where you're wrong. I stood tall, refusing to be intimidated. I was something before you. I'll be something after you. The only time I was nothing was with you, when I made myself smaller to accommodate your ego. The doorbell rang, the sound cutting through the tension between us. Expecting someone? He asked. Actually, yes. I moved to the door, opening it to reveal Vanessa standing in the hallway, suitcase beside her. Nate's eyes darted between us, confusion and fear competing on his face. What is this? Your new roommate, I said, stepping back to let Vanessa enter. Though I should warn you, the lease situation has changed. Vanessa walked in, her gaze cold as it landed on Nate. You lied to me. To both of us. This is ridiculous, Nate sputtered. You two are ganging up on me? Over what? A relationship that wasn't working anyway? No, I said firmly. Over betrayal. Over theft. Over cruelty that was entirely unnecessary. Vanessa set down her bag. When Emma told me what you'd been doing with her designs, after everything you said about supporting my career, I realized you'd do the same to me eventually. So we made a new arrangement, I continued. One that doesn't include you. I handed him a second document, a notice from his parents' property management company. Your mother was quite upset about how you've behaved. She's agreed to transfer the lease to my name. You have 48 hours to remove your belongings. I couldn't help but smile at the symmetry. That's how long you have to get your things and get out. You can't do this, he stammered, looking between us with growing desperation. This is my home. Not anymore, Vanessa said. And I'm staying with Emma until I find a new place. Turns out, we have a lot in common, including terrible taste in men and excellent taste in revenge. Nate lunged for his laptop, still sitting on the coffee table. I'll fight this. I wouldn't bother, I said calmly. Your emails have been forwarded to HR at your firm. The design theft is already being investigated. And your parents have made their position clear. His face contorted with rage as the full impact of his situation hit him. You planned all of this. No, Nate. You planned all of this when you decided to betray me. I moved to the door and held it open. The clock's ticking. I need this to be clean. 1 year later. The gallery buzzed with conversation, champagne glasses clinking as people moved from one display to another. My name shone on the wall in elegant letters. Emma Larson, Architectural Visions. There's the woman of the hour, Zoe said, appearing at my side with 2 flutes of champagne. How does it feel? I took a moment to survey the room, my designs brought to life, illuminated and celebrated. The Patterson Award had been just the beginning. It feels like exactly where I'm supposed to be, I answered honestly. Across the room, I spotted a familiar face. Vanessa, deep in conversation with the director of her new marketing firm. She caught my eye and raised her glass in a small salute. Our unlikely friendship had been one of the unexpected gifts of the past year. From temporary roommates to genuine friends, we'd helped each other rebuild after Nate's destruction. Have you heard the latest? Zoe asked, lowering her voice conspiratorially. About Nate? No, and I'm not sure I want to, she grinned. Trust me, you do. He's working at his father's company now, in the mailroom. Turns out, intellectual property theft doesn't look good on a resume. I should have felt vindication, but instead, found only a distant pity. He had so much potential. Don't waste your compassion on him, Zoe warned. He made his choices. I'm not, I assured her, just reflecting on how differently things turned out than I expected a year ago. The memory of those 48 hours, the shock, the pain, the frantic planning, seemed to belong to a different lifetime now. In the immediate aftermath, I'd worried I'd made a mistake, exposing Nate's theft rather than walking away quietly. The legal battles had been draining, the professional ramifications complicated, but standing here now, surrounded by my work and my true supporters, I knew I'd made the right choice. Ms. Larson? A tall woman in an impeccably tailored suit approached. I'm Catherine West from Horizon International. Your integration of sustainable materials with modern aesthetics is exactly what we've been looking for in our Singapore project. As I engaged in conversation about potential collaboration, I caught sight of my reflection in one of the gallery's mirrors, confident, poised, undiminished. Later that evening, as the event wound down, Vanessa joined me on the gallery's terrace overlooking the city lights. Quite a night, she said, leaning against the railing. You deserve it all. So do you, I replied. I heard about your promotion. Creative director at 32 is impressive, she smiled. We make quite the comeback story, don't we? That we do. We stood in comfortable silence, the cool night air a relief after the warmth of the crowded gallery. Do you ever think about him? Vanessa asked suddenly. Less and less, I admitted. Though sometimes I wonder if I should thank him, she raised an eyebrow. Thank him? In a way, his betrayal forced me to fight for myself in a way I never had before. I looked out at the city, my city, reclaimed. Without that push, I might still be dimming my light to make him shine. A painful gift, she mused. The most valuable ones often are. Inside, Zoe appeared at the door, gesturing that my presence was requested. More congratulations, more connections, more opportunities. Back into the fray? Vanessa asked with a smile. Into my future, I corrected her. On my own terms. As I moved through the gallery one last time that evening, accepting congratulations and discussing potential projects, I passed the centerpiece of my exhibition, a model of a building rising from fractured ground, stronger and more beautiful for having been broken. I had named it 48 Hours, though no one but a few knew the significance. It stood as a reminder that endings can be beginnings in disguise, that sometimes the worst moment of your life can lead to the best version of yourself, that when given 48 hours to leave, you can instead choose to rise.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.